Welcome back to the night shift, guys. I took 2 more trades and I want to take you guys through it. So the first trade is GBPJPY right here. What you look for is rule number 1. You want to look for a downward thrust in price. Since we have this downward movement in price, that's rule number 1 met. Sorry, before rule number 1, if you're looking for sells, you want to look to sell beneath this purple line. If you're looking for buys, you want to buy above the purple line. So that's rule number 1. Then rule number 2 is the fact that you have this downward move. So rule number 1 and rule number 2 is met. Then as price started moving up, the third rule is you do want a peak center pass, right? Peak center pass is where you have this as your peak, the peak of the bottom. As price is coming back up, it does a center right here. You want price to pass the center, right? So because price went up and then it came down during Asia, it didn't close beneath here. It actually went up again. So I then changed my center to be this point right here, the bottom of these 2 candles. And then I wait for another pass. Price didn't do that. It actually came down here and then pushed higher. Then I moved my center to be the base of those 2 candles. You really want to be, putting your line at the base of those 2 candles, because that's where the price needs to then pass. So then if I go back and zoom out, you guys will see that after the price goes up, it then passes with this major bearish candle. So this major bearish candle is your pass candle. That's your confirmation candle that is now telling you that we are now ready to continue with this downward movement. That's rule number 3. With rule number 3 is a condition that this pass candle, right, needs to have 2 conditions on it. The first condition being it needs to happen at a specific time. So the time for the pass candle needs to be 9 o'clock chart time up until 1700. So as you guys can see down here, the pass time was at 2 p.m. So this candle opened at 2 p.m. and when 3 p.m. hit, it closed here at the bottom beneath this red line of mine. And then what you look for then is, as the second condition is, as the pass candle happens, this green line, which is the Ehlers fissure, so this indicator down here, the Ehlers fissure needs to be above the 50 level. It needs to be above this middle line. The 2 conditions were met. We opened the candle at 2 and closed at 3 p.m., which is within our times. And also at the pass candle, the Ehlers fissure was still above. So now we are ready to go to the 15-minute and look for an entry. So you guys will see down there that this is the pass candle. This whole movement is the pass candle. And then this is your pullback for an entry. My entry works this way. So you go to the 15, you want price to come and touch the yellow line, which is the 50 exponential moving average, right? So as it comes up and touches right there, so I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. As it comes up and touches right there at this candle, you then want the second criteria to be, you come back to the bottom side. So I'm just going to zoom out. Come back to the bottom side and you look at this dotted line. So this dotted line is my RSI. This solid green one is my Ehlers fissure. So you want the RSI to come back above the 50 and then cross the Ehlers fissure. Right at the point of crossing, which would have been this green candle, I took my first entry. So I took my first entry, I put my stop losses above this high, and I made my take profit to be this low right here. So price then came down, and then as it came down, I moved my stops too early because you guys can see that price then came up and stopped me out. But then I didn't despair. I waited for a second entry. So as price came up, it's the same thing. You wait for it to touch the yellow line, right? Once it's touched my 50 line, my 50 moving average, I then wait for this dotted line to come above my 50 line, which it did. and then once it comes above and then it comes beneath, notice in this case I don't wait for it to cross, I actually wait for it to come beneath the 50 line. So it's the earlier of the two. So my entry works as the earlier of the two. Either you want the cross at the green line or you want the cross beneath the 50 level. So when my 50 level crossed at this green bearish candle, I then took my entry, put my stop losses above there, and went for I think a take profit right about these regions. I hope it makes sense for you guys, and I hope you guys have found some value in this, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.